Breaking! Arsenal plot blockbuster moves for Bruno Guimarães and Vinicius Jr. Transfer news. Hello Gunners, welcome back to Arsenal Daily Talk, your #1 destination for the latest Arsenal transfer news, breaking updates, match analysis and everything happening at the Emirates. If you love Arsenal as much as we do, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications and let's dive straight into today's massive Arsenal news. Come on you Gunners! Arsenal fans, welcome back, because today's transfer roundup is packed with stories that could shape the remainder of the summer window. There are reports involving one of the Premier League's finest midfielders, one of the most explosive wingers in world football, and fresh defensive targets as Mikel Arteta continues building a squad capable of competing on every front. As always, it's important to separate confirmed developments from speculation. Some of these stories are at an early stage, while others are based on reports from multiple outlets. We'll examine what is being claimed, how realistic each move appears, and what it could mean for Arsenal if any of these transfers materialise. Let's begin with the name that has Arsenal supporters talking once again: Bruno Guimarães. Bruno Guimarães back on Arsenal's radar. For several transfer windows, Bruno Guimarães has been one of the midfielders most frequently linked with Arsenal. The Brazilian international has established himself as one of the Premier League's standout performers since joining Newcastle United. His blend of technical quality, work rate, leadership and defensive intelligence has made him one of the league's most complete midfielders. Now, fresh reports suggest Bruno has informed Newcastle manager Eddie Howe that he would be open to leaving if the right opportunity presents itself. While there is no agreement with Arsenal or any other club, this has naturally reignited speculation about a potential move to the Emirates. If true, it would represent a significant development, because Newcastle have consistently maintained that Bruno is central to their long-term plans. So why are Arsenal interested? The answer is straightforward. Mikel Arteta values midfielders who can control the tempo of matches while contributing in both defensive and attacking phases. Bruno fits that profile exceptionally well. He can receive the ball under pressure, dictate possession, break opposition lines with progressive passing, win tackles and provide the intensity Arsenal demand when pressing high up the pitch. Imagine a midfield featuring Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard and Bruno Guimarães. On paper, it would offer balance, creativity, defensive security and leadership. Rice could protect the back four, Bruno could link defence to attack, and Odegaard could operate with greater freedom in advanced areas. That combination would arguably be among the strongest midfields in Europe. However, signing Bruno would be anything but simple. Newcastle remain financially strong and are under no obligation to sell one of their most influential players. Previous reports suggested Arsenal explored offers in the region of £55 million and £65 million, but those figures were reportedly not enough to convince Newcastle to negotiate. Any future deal would likely require a substantially higher fee. The financial challenge is only one part of the equation. Newcastle also have ambitions of consistently competing in Europe, and losing a player of Bruno's quality would represent a major setback unless they secured an outstanding replacement. From Arsenal's perspective, though, there are clear football reasons for pursuing the Brazilian. Arteta wants his squad to compete in 4 competitions throughout the season. That means quality and depth is no longer a luxury, it's essential. In recent campaigns, Arsenal have occasionally struggled when key midfielders were unavailable through injury or suspension. Adding another elite midfielder would reduce that risk while increasing competition for places. Competition often elevates standards, and that's exactly what Arteta has been trying to build. Bruno's Premier League experience is another major advantage. Unlike players arriving from overseas leagues, he already understands the intensity, physicality, and tactical demands of English football. There would likely be a shorter adaptation period, allowing him to make an immediate impact if a move ever happened. Of course, Arsenal supporters are already imagining what this could mean tactically. Bruno isn't simply a defensive midfielder. He can carry the ball through midfield, create chances with incisive passes, shoot from distance, and contribute goals. His versatility would allow Arteta to rotate his midfield depending on the opposition. Against stronger teams, Bruno and Rice could form a formidable defensive shield. Against teams that defend deep, Bruno could play higher up the pitch, using his creativity to unlock compact defensive blocks. That tactical flexibility is invaluable over the course of a long season. Another factor is leadership. Despite still being in his prime, Bruno has already demonstrated leadership qualities both for Newcastle and the Brazilian national team. Arsenal's squad has matured considerably over recent years, but adding another experienced leader could prove invaluable during high-pressure moments in the Premier League title race and the UEFA Champions League. However, there are still plenty of unanswered questions. Would Newcastle genuinely sanction the sale? Would Arsenal be prepared to meet the asking price? Would other European giants also enter the race? At this stage, those questions remain unanswered. What's clear is that Bruno Guimarães continues to be one of the most admired midfielders in Europe, and if an opportunity arises, Arsenal are likely to assess it carefully rather than rush into negotiations. For now, this remains a developing story rather than a completed transfer, but it's certainly one that Arsenal fans should continue watching closely over the coming weeks. Coming up in part 2, we'll turn our attention to one of the biggest names in world football, Vinicius Jr. Why are reports linking the Real Madrid superstar with Arsenal? Could the arrival of Kylian Mbappe affect his future? How realistic is such a blockbuster move, and what would Vinicius bring to Arteta's attack if the unimaginable happened? Stay tuned, Vinicius Jr. to Arsenal, the truth behind the blockbuster rumours. Welcome back, Gunners. If the reports surrounding Bruno Guimarães have excited Arsenal supporters, then the next story has taken social media by storm. It involves one of the most electrifying footballers on the planet, Vinicius Jr. Before we dive in, it's important to stress that there is no agreement and no confirmed negotiations between Arsenal and Real Madrid. At this stage, this is a speculative transfer story being discussed because of uncertainty surrounding Real Madrid's attacking options, not because a move is close. That said, whenever a player of Vinicius's caliber is even loosely linked with the market, Europe's biggest clubs are naturally part of the conversation, and Arsenal have been mentioned in some reports. Why are these rumours appearing? Real Madrid have assembled one of the strongest attacking squads in world football, with stars such as Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, Endrick and Vinicius Jr. all competing for places. There has been ongoing debate about how the team will be balanced. Vinicius has been one of Madrid's most important players over the past few seasons, producing goals and assists in the biggest matches and helping the club win major trophies. Because of the sheer number of elite attacking players, speculation has emerged that other clubs are keeping an eye on the situation in case there is any change in his future. Arsenal are among the clubs mentioned because Mikel Arteta has transformed the Gunners into genuine contenders for the biggest honours in England and Europe. But it is one thing to admire a player and quite another to sign him. Why would Arsenal want Vinicius? The answer is simple. He is one of the best left wingers in world football. Vinicius possesses frightening pace, exceptional one-on-one ability, elite dribbling and the confidence to take on defenders repeatedly. Few players in football can change a match as quickly as he can. Imagine Arsenal on the counter-attack. Declan Rice wins possession. Martin Odegaard plays a perfectly weighted through ball. Vinicius explodes into space with defenders desperately trying to catch him. Moments later, the ball is in the back of the net. That is exactly why so many supporters have become excited by these rumours. His directness would give Arsenal another dimension in attack. A dream front three. If Arsenal somehow managed to sign Vinicius, Arteta would suddenly have one of Europe's most feared attacking units. Picture this: Vinicius Jr. on the left, Bukayo Saka on the right, a clinical striker through the middle. Defenders would have almost no time to recover. Double-marking Saka would leave Vinicius isolated. Stopping Vinicius would create space for Odegaard. Closing down Odegaard would leave Rice free to dictate play. It would create endless tactical problems for opponents. Why this transfer would be extremely difficult. Now let's discuss reality. Even if Arsenal admire Vinicius, several enormous obstacles stand in the way. The first is Real Madrid. They still regard him as one of the world's elite players. Selling someone of that quality would require extraordinary circumstances. Secondly, there is the transfer fee. Any deal would almost certainly rank among the biggest in football history. Then there are wages. Vinicius is already one of football's highest paid players.